Yeah. All right, everyone, welcome to Lunch and Learn. This week, the business office is up and we're going to be talking about forms. Um, I'm just going to do a brief intro and then I'm going to hand off to Bridget. So up until last year, a lot of our forms were paper-based. So around, I think like the November timeframe last year, we started switching over to PDF forms. And by we, I mean Bridget. Bridget did all the work on this and deserves all the credit for it. She created the forms. She's working with people on, always improving them. Just recently, we added a new form that Bridget will also be going over in this process. Um, and I will say there, in my conversations with her, there's two things we need the forms to do. Um, One is they need to be, quick and easy for people to figure out, which is why we put in features like drop-down menu, so you don't have to remember account numbers. The other thing is we need to satisfy a bunch of requirements we have. Just general accounting. When we get audited every year, they make sure we have proper controls and all our expenses are documented. Um, so as long as the system is satisfying those two requirements, that's the primary lens that I look through it. Um, so without further ado, I will hand off to Bridget.
Okie dokie. Hi, everyone. Let's see, speaker view. Am I now on the speaker? I don't know how I changed the view.
I think everybody does it individually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is it being recorded on speaker view right now?
If you're on speaker view.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So hi, everyone. Get that out of the way. So let's see. I sent everyone out and all staff of the 45-second video on how to get to the staff portal about a half hour ago. So hopefully you all got that. I know some of us are new, some of us are forgetful. So we all need this information, but we have a lot of new staff coming in. So I figured just creating and the funny thing is I had created this video and put it on the staff portal in December. And today I was like, well, that doesn't make much sense. You can't get to it. So that's what I did. So that is how to getting to the staff portal. I'm going to share screen. Bear with me. I have a couple of screens here. All right, so staff portal. I'm already in, so to sign out and sign back in, it won't let me. So just pretend that you've all done this process. So now you're in staff resources. You'll go to operations. And this is where the business office forms are living and the letterhead color. I don't know why. So these are the forms and some important information to have. There was a tutorial video. Google, I'll show it to you. I'm doing away with this. I'm redoing all of the videos and they'll be moved, and I'll show you where they'll be moved to right now. Here in recordings, I've just added a bunch. So this is the how to do QuickSign. There's a video on how to do QuickSign here. There's a video on, we'll talk about the Staples purchase process that is starting in place, and downloading business forms. There's a tutorial for that. So today I'm going to do sort of a quick overview of all of these components because I know I have video backups for you to really get into, but if you have questions, please ask them. But again, always know you can come to me and we can figure this out together. So that's where recordings will be. They'll be moved from here. I'm creating them, so this outfit will look familiar to everyone for a long time. So first, I think, Nepalzine, should I start with the Staples purchase request? Oh, you're
Yeah,
still here because I know you have a workman coming.
yeah. So let me just do a quick thing about Staples and why it's separate from other purchase requests. So Purchasing, it needs to go through finance, obviously, because we need to, arrange payment. Staples for office supplies, we've kind of carved out as a little bit of an exception because it's a frequent and regular thing. And we're trying to make the process a little quicker. So there's two types of uh, purchases through Staples, what I call basic office supplies, and then there's specific office supplies. So for basic stuff, that will, as always, be through Wanda. Wanda will check the copy room, she'll check the cabinets, make sure we have basic supplies.
So basic, by basic, and I'm sorry to interrupt, by basic, you mean universal, everyone gets to use it.
Yeah, pens, pencils, stickies, paper clips, paper for the copier, just general stuff. Now, contrast that with specific stuff. Let's say you need a bunch of supplies for a conference that you have coming up, or an event, or for any reason that you're buying specifically as part of a grant or project. And that's what this form is for. It's a little quicker and easier than going through the regular process, which is why we've created that form.
All right, want me to jump in?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just going to do this one quick. So I click on the form, and there's a video for this. I click on download. It's showing that it's downloading up here at the top. On your computer, it may be at the bottom, but I don't access it from here. I go into File Explorer. I go into my downloads, and that's where that form is, because I need it to pop up in our Nitro Pro. So here is this form for Nitro Pro. You'll notice it just says Staples purchase request here. It has Staples Advantage already written in, so you don't need to do, I sort of put the red dash. You will need to write who you're requesting, just like the usual purchase requests, who's requesting it, what date you're submitting this on, and when you need it by, at least 1 week's lead time. The ship to is always, you can have it shipped to the Federation, care of your name, or have it shipped to your home address, or wherever it needs to be shipped to, that you can control here. Within the description, you'll write, let's say you have, you need whiteboard markers, and you know, because you've been to the Staples website, you know what the code is for that. I just made that up. And then you know what the dollar amount is for that day. Sales happen, so it's just sort of a guesstimate for that. So you'll write in that dollar amount, and you'll complete these going down. The account numbers, you'll notice I didn't put all of the account numbers in. They're really just specific to, it would correlate to something you would order from Staples. So let's say it's supplies and material, your class, let's say it's for PTI. I have edited the grant specific. So this might be a Boston Public Schools thing. You'll have put your amounts in, and then here at the bottom, it says quick sign. This is important for everyone to not sign it through sort of the formal signature, because it will lock the form. And if your director needs to make any changes, it won't allow changes or signatures or things. So you'd go to quick sign. Again, I have a video on how to create that. You'd put your quick sign in. Date, everyone needs to date it, even the directors. It's important that we have the dates on here. Then when you have this completed, you would save it to your computer, and you can just hit save. Or what I would do is I go to save as, and then in my documents, I have my business office request as a folder. And then for 2023, and you might just save that this is paper. And you'd save it here. You'll see up top, it's saved as paper. Now you want to share this with your director. You go to share here at the top. You do email as attachment. It'll pop up this window. I'm going to send this to Nepal Zine. And it might be, please review and sign in correct spelling. And then send. Now your director gets this. They'll look through and say, okay, yep, that looks, or you know what? I know that we already had ordered whiteboard markers and we have those somewhere else, so they'll kind of go through and verify everything. Make sure that the account numbers are accurate. That's kind of on the directors for that. They'll again do the quick sign and date. If it's something for technology, you'll have already spoken to Chetna, thank you. I'm like, what is that woman's name? To Chetna and sort of gone through that process. So now the director has completed this form. They're going to save it. And then they're going to send it to just Wanda. Wanda, I'm going to send this to you. And only Wanda. Don't CC business office. Things get muddy when there's too many people attached. This is just to Wanda. And you can say Staples order, whatever you want to write or whatever Wanda wants so that she sort of has that heads up. Staples order. All of the information will be on that form and then you just hit send. When Wanda gets that form, she's going to place the order with Staples through the Staples Advantage. Once she places that order, I get notified by Staples. I approve it. I get the receipt. Wanda, once she's made the order, she'll send me that rec that you had completed. I combine the rec with the receipt, and that's how we get it paid. Any questions on that process? I think I took it from start to end. I'm going to stop share real quick. Thoughts? Questions, concerns?
It looks like someone recommended like a tip sheet that you can prepare the guide through that process.
Oh, sorry.
People
Yes,
have raised
that was
their
me.
hands.
I don't know if you can hear me.
What about folks who work from their home office? So that's where you would order those items through the Staples and you would have them sent to your home. Is that
Bridget?
Is it? Sorry.
Hold on
I'm
just
just-
1 second, Deanna. Let me just
Yeah,
hear what
Yep.
Ingrid is.
Okay, this is Ingrid.
Yep.
It would be helpful to have a tip sheet. I said cheat sheet, but you're right. Tip sheet that would say, here's what you do to request from a manager. Here's what the manager does. Here's what a director does. Because they are very different and there are multiple steps other than just watching the video. I think a quick kind of checklist would be really, really helpful.
Okay. I don't know that process. So since you're a manager, Ingrid, if you know that process, if you could just shoot me a Teams and let me know.
I actually don't, which is why I'm like,
Okay.
cheat sheet would be great.
All right. So maybe Ruth will
We
know?
can talk.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, but that's a great idea. And then I see other questions. Deanna, you said something.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to confirm, I think I missed it at the end when you were, so the manager has approved it.
Mhm.
And did you say they send it back to you for,
Oh, They
and then
send
you,
it to Wanda.
they send it to Wanda,
Yep.
you don't send it to Wanda.
Right. So
Okay,
you have
thank
done
you.
your part. You've got it
Okay.
to the director. They send it to Wanda.
Thank
And
you.
some directors might CC you so that you know that it's gone to Wanda. It's just most important that they don't CC business office because that's where it can get muddy, where people think the business office is doing things that we don't know we're supposed to be doing.
Got it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Kim Chi.
I think the one question in the chat is same question I gonna ask. If we have to print out the fly at the Staples, is the same form?
So printing out flyers, that's where it becomes, if you're going through Amir to create the flyers, then he does that process. So is
Right.
that
Yeah.
kind of what you're saying? Or if you go there yourself?
I mean, like I tried to bring out a fly from my crane today at the office, and the printer is stuck.
Okay,
Pat and I tried to figure out how to get the paper jam out, but we couldn't do it. So I'm thinking about I bring it to Staples to print out some flyer. It's I just have to claim the same form.
right. So you'll take the tax form so that they don't tax you on it. And the tax form can be found on the portal as well. And so that's
Oh,
that's it.
Bridget, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I tried that at Staples before. They said, no, they don't do that there. You have to get reimbursed on that. That's what they told me. So I
Okay,
don't know.
so I've spoken to them, I think since then, and because we're the Staples Advantage, they will take the, you have to tell them that we're Staples Advantage.
I did tell them that, but
Okay.
because that's when I went to get that box of paper.
Right.
So, but anyway.
All right. So I think that
Mhm.
Kimchi is a great question that I'm not prepared to answer right now,
Okay.
but I am writing it down. Because that may come up where you may need to submit your flyer virtually
Mhm.
online and have it printed so you can pick it up at a Staples near you. But we don't have a process for that right now, but we do need one. So I will, I'll get on that. Is that
Thank you,
okay?
Richard.
Kimchi? Are you
Yeah.
comfortable with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
Thank you.
I have an answer. There's a question about business cards. We're not changing the process of there's the support form you fill out, and one of the options is business cards. That process goes through Amir. So Amir will create the proof, he'll send it to the person, that person will approve it. We've given Amir access to Staples. He orders that stuff directly. Bridget gets notified. I talked with Pam. We made a decision that rather than mess around for something that's low dollars, we're going to just absorb business cards as an admin expense. We're not going to nickel and dime and charge $15 on account every time someone prints out business cards. So business cards, we're not changing from that process that started a couple of weeks or months ago.
And it's a similar process that we have now set up with Wanda, where he makes the order, I approve the order, he gets me the rec, I combine the things and it gets paid. I'm looking in the other questions. Chetna, files can be printed in-house as long as it's not jammed. People who work from home, there was that question. They're able to order, I'm assuming they're able to order their office supplies, and it would go the same way through Wanda because they don't have access to the Boston office. Is that true? Anyone want to tell me it's not? Okay. Let me go through these. Amir does the printing. So if you need flyers printed and created, Gail, if you need the flyers created, that I believe goes through Amir. And then the printing of that, the same, I believe. Business cards.
Yeah, I guess, I know Chetna's been trying to work, but every time I try to print something on the printer, I've had it just doesn't work the last week or so. So I was just trying to figure out how to, instead of, I feel so bad having Chetna do, an hour of problem solving, and maybe there was a way to just get some flyers printed through
So I
Staples.
think the same answer that I gave Kimchi is I'm giving to you, which is really no answer just yet, but I will all staff a response.
Great, thank you. Thank you
You're
so
very
much.
welcome. You're
We
very
just
welcome.
got a new flyer ready to go and are ready to go to some public
Okay.
events. Thank you.
I'll
Thank you.
hop on that today.
We may need training on how to use our office copier for color printing of flyers, especially if you're using different paper. It's a little tricky, but it's much, much cheaper for us to do that in-house. And it's quicker if it's working. So maybe Chetna, you can offer some kind of hands-on training on how to do that.
We'll put that on the list. Good idea.
Thanks. Thank you, Leslie. And that's what I was trying to, paste in the, or message in the chat box saying, flyers can be printed in the office and the printer does a pretty good job, provided we are not jamming the printer too much.
Right.
So yes.
And it depends on the paper too. You can't use
I
too
see
much thick
Rebecca's
paper.
question. Rebecca's the quality that NextGen is asking for and NextGen is paying for may be different. So it's not one size fits all, but it's most people will fit in the shoes.
And yeah, and I was saying is, the printer does a pretty good job depending on the type of paper you want. If you want a glossy, different type of paper, we've done that in the past. We've also printed our VOC booklets over there. So our printer does a pretty good job of doing the flyers as well.
Awesome.
If they are. And Gail, just to confirm, I will look at your machine as to what the issue is with your printer. And you should be, okay, let me look at your machine for that, if you're having issues.
I am going to move us on, if that's okay. If you have questions about the Staples order, shoot them to the business office and I will pass them on to Nepal Z. And we'll get to the bottom of it. But hopefully this process will work. I'm going to share screen and just get us back to the topic. And all right, so that was this form. It's basically the same format as far as what is required. For a stipend, you'll need to type out the person's name who will be getting this stipend, their address. Sometimes stipends are completed by the person doing the work, and sometimes you're filling out the stipend. And so if you're filling out the stipend, you would write in their name, what their address is. Every form has to have an address, even your staff reimbursement ones. And that is an auditing issue or concern. So the payee's name, their address, their email, their phone number if you have it. If they have the W-9 on file with us, you'll click this. If you're not sure, that's fine. Before I pay anyone, I check to see if we have their W-9. So there's really a fail safe. But if you check it, then I don't have to check. This is I consent to receive stipend via direct deposit. Again, I would love everyone. And I think I might send out, if this is okay with Renee and Nepalzine, to all the new staff, start entering them in bill.com so that they can set up ePay if they'd like to. You don't have to, but it does shorten the time that it takes you to get your money by several days. So it is just a quicker way to get your funds. And you get paid for reimbursements through a different billing system, not through iSolved and our payroll system. So even if you're set up as direct deposit, that company doesn't talk to the company that I use for reimbursements and for payments. So this is where you would check that they would like their stipend to be sent. I get the email and I'll do a video on this process as well. I put it into the system, bill.com sends them an email and they do their banking information through them. I never get that information. I don't want that information. And then you would put the activity that they're getting paid for. What is the title of that activity? What was the date? What was the hours? The important information. Some stipends have an hourly rate and some just have a total. So if there is no hourly rate, then there is no hourly rate. You know, it's a $25 stipend and that's what it is. And then the payee, person getting paid, would sign this. But there's this caveat down bottom. If payee signature is unable to be provided, please check here, written verbal consent in lieu of signature and date that it was received. So if you've spoken to them, they know they're getting paid, you would check this, you would put the date here. This box is in case they're filling it out themselves, you would want to tell them who to return this to. Ingrid, this might be someone that Ruth has to approve. So you would say, please return this form to Ruth. Again, there's account numbers. These have more account numbers in it because we have more to think about on these. Your class number, and then again, grant specifics have all been updated. Quick sign for the person who's requesting this, so the staff who's making this request. Date, again, you would save this form to your computer. You would share it through the email as attachment form that I talked about before. And then your director would get this. Your director would sign. They would date, they would send to the business office. And then that's when I would process. These forms, every time you use one, please access it from the staff portal. I know it's easier to just save it and have a master copy on your computer, but these get updated and processes change. And so I need to make sure that the form has all of the information that we need to have on it, and that changes. So I appreciate everyone doing that this far. Keep up the good work. So that is our stipend form. Any
I have
questions?
a question.
Okay,
So it mentions here the stipend hourly rate, and let's say it's $10 an hour. How would you know how many hours they
because up
work?
here you would have put that in. And
So
I
it
can
should
add
be
that
day
to here.
title and number of hours.
Sure,
You
I'll
wouldn't
add that.
add that, or else people will not add that and you won't know what their total is.
Right. So hold on.
Thank you.
this is sort of an important thing. So you can go in and edit if there's something in here that you just need to add. So here I'm just going to write add number. And that's how I did it. I just went up to home. I clicked type text. I brought it to where I wanted it, and that's where it is. And now I have this, and I can make my changes. Anyone else? Let me look in chat. I'm trying to do both. I'm not very good at it. For business cards, the printer is safe to use. Pausing. Please do not get scared of sending your print commands. Printing in the office is cost effective and prints beautifully. Awesome. Thank you. Have I missed anyone's questions? Okay. So now I will go on to, I'm actually going to go back to the staff portal and show you some things that I hadn't shown you. I go into operations. So here's our chart of accounts. And this again gets updated. Click download. And these are the account numbers that most of them will be in the documents. This is separated. They're not, they don't correlate to each other. I put that gray there and it says account and class lists are separate. So one doesn't correlate to the next. It was just easier to have this here. So this gets updated. You'll notice some 312 is MRC, but then next gen came on and we had to do 312B. A similar thing happened with 329A and 329B. So we're constantly changing and adding different, well, not constantly, but often enough. And then grant specific, that's been changing. I used to only have Coton and Noonan, and now I have more. So that is that form. Also in the operations is meals and incidental expense. And here's a write-up on that, on when per diem, how to per diem. Paulzine has done this, and it shows you the lookup section. This, I have to go back to home. Purchaser price stipend, that I'm going to get rid of. Staples. Providing receipt, that's a video that'll go into recording. The One Federation request form is here. I'm not sure where else it is on here. I need your help. So here, click on the words One Federation Team Service Request Form. I say that because if you click on Federation, you go to the Federations page. And I've done that 1,000 times and thought, why is this broken? And it is not broken. I am. And so this is where you would make those requests. Let's see what else is in here. Oh, our tax exempt. And this form is good until 2029. So this is that form that you would show to businesses before you make a purchase. We cannot, or we do not reimburse for tax. Hotels is a different issue, but let's not jump into that just yet. But for purchases, we do not reimburse tax. So there is that form to show prior to purchasing. We have accounts with Amazon and we have accounts with Staples. So if you're looking to place orders there, please reach out. You know, the Staples is the Wanda piece, but when in doubt, please reach out. Hey, that was a good alliteration. Because we'll already have our payment plans in there and our tax free and all of that. So I think those are all of the extra forms. I'm gonna now get us back into Nitro. Please make sure, especially for new staff, when you get your laptop, that you have Nitro as your default so that these are going to be easily read. When I take this, and I'll do a video on the process, but I take these forms through an email, once your director emails them to me, and I just slide them over into bill.com and Bill reads it. And so that's one benefit. But another is if you, because these were created on Nitro for whatever reason, if you use Adobe at times or other PDF readers or writers, it turns it into hieroglyphics. And so when it comes to me, and then I, even though it looks good in your email, when I move it to bill.com, it takes words out, it makes words into boxes, and then I have to find you and get a new document because I can't process a document that doesn't look right in the billing system. So that was chart of accounts is available. That is the stipend, Staples, purchase request. This is, you know, for all other things that aren't Staples, you would still go through the business office. Again, you would write in here, say you think you can purchase it at Amazon. We are trying to create a list of local minority and female-owned businesses that we can go to. And so that's sort of, we're in the starting stages of that. So if you know of any, please feel free to send them to us, but they need to be certified. But if you know of, of any, then business office will take those names. But you could put in Amazon. That's just your suggested vendor. I may say, okay, this is what you wanted on Amazon, but I think Staples has it cheaper and can get it to you faster. So I won't always say I want to get the least expensive thing. I need to take cost and time into account. Because if it's going to get to you 3 days after you need it, then I'm not really saving anything because you're not able to use it. But again, these forms get completed. Request, need buy, that 1 week lead time I'll put on there. Ship to, whoever you need it shipped to. A description of what you want. If you have I can't even remember what the number is, the code, from the online site that you found something at, put that here. And then the supposed amount that it will be, but account numbers need to be placed there either by the person who's completing it, but absolutely before the director signs it and sends it, it needs to have account numbers on there.
Are you talking about the item number for the?
Yes.
The,
I couldn't
okay,
think of that.
item number for the, yeah.
Is it like an SSN? I don't know. Thank you, Wanda.
You're welcome.
Again, you would do the quick sign and not the official sign because that locks things. Everyone has to date it. If it's an electronic purchase, if it's a Lenovo purchase, or if maybe you're not sure if it should be a Lenovo purchase, that conversation needs to happen before this is sent so that you're having a conversation with Chetna. Part of that also is if you're wanting to put in an order for a 24-inch monitor, but we just realized we have 17 of them, then you wouldn't need to necessarily order one for yourself. We would have one, in-house. And also, I imagine so that what you're getting is compatible with what device you have. So again, everything needs to be dated, signed, and account numbers. Again, you would save this, send it to your director signs it, and the director sends it to the business office. Please try not to get the business office involved until it's ready to be paid. Otherwise, the assumptions get made all the time that, oh, the business office was on it, so they must be handling it, when I can only process something that has the full signature on it. So that's purchase request. Payment request is going to be when you don't have an invoice. If you have an invoice, if someone has sent you an invoice, sign the invoice, code the invoice, and send it to me. You don't need to have this an extra form. If you have an invoice, that as long as you have the signature on it and the codes that it needs, then that's what will get processed. But if you don't have an invoice and you need to do a payment, this is similar to the stipend where you need name, email. Will they consent to a direct deposit? Do we have a W-9? Everyone that we pay needs to have, if we're paying them over $600 in a calendar year, they need a W-9 completed because we need to create a 1099 for tax reasons. Here is the amount, who it's requested by, when it's requested by, when it's needed, date and name of events that you're paying them for, the requester signature, director signature, and dates. Again, dates always. And then this form gets sent to the business office. after it has everyone's signature on it. Once it comes to me, I check to see if that has everything that I need it to have. And then it gets processed. And then what I have been doing is I usually will reply all and say, this was processed, just so people don't think it's out there in the ether. You know, once you've let go of it and you give it to your director and then you're not sure where it's gone from there, I will, once I've processed something, I send an email saying it's been processed. Any questions on these so far? Am I missing anything in the chat? Have you taught about gas reimbursement already? Sorry, no, I haven't. I'm waiting for my new computer. How do I check that it has Nitro? That would be, Chetna, I think, was putting Nitro on computers. And then once you get it, you can reach out to Chetna. How do you like that? Sidestep. So now we get into staff expense and travel reimbursement. So this is the form that most people will be using, I find anyway. So this, you're filling it out. So it's your name. You have to put your address, even though you know that I have your address, it has to be on this document. Auditors don't know that. If you want to receive your payment, you can click here. If you don't, and you're already in the system, then it's already going to go that way anyway. Your email here, if you want me to set up the payment via ePay. So down here, it has everything that you should need to fill this out. So for mileage, you're going to put, say you do one day here in on the 34th of never, you went to 32 Talcott to Maynard School. And you would say how many miles it was. So it could be 30 miles round trip. So it was 15 miles each way, but you only need to do one of these boxes for the round trip. So then you would put that in here. So it's 30 miles for this one round trip. And if you go up here, there's a IRS rate is 0.655 per mile as of January 1st. So another reason why making sure that you're using the most up-to-date form is important. Last year in July, they changed the reimbursement amount mid-year. I don't know that that's common practice, but that's what was done. So we did change it on January 1st. So it says mileage description must include purpose of trip. So this would be, I would write resource fare, and then that would be the information there. Round trip can be listed as one item. The miles you traveled, and then you would do the math for this. So you would do 30 times 0.655 and write the amount in here. Also indicate how mileage was calculated. So in the past, you had to put up your Google triptych or whatever you had to do and attach it to this form. But now you just say if you used Waze or Google Map, or if you used your trip odometer. That's a word. That's how you would use it. Just so we have a way, and the auditors have a way of knowing that there's a way to check this. Again, you would put your amount for travel. It is most likely 6020, which is our travel and mileage, then what your class is, and if it's grant specific. Per diem rate, it says reach out to business office with questions. That gsa.gov. I can do a video on this. We don't have time for me to go into it right now, but I'll just do a quick show you that site. And it is part of it. There's a screen share from Nepal Zine. So per diem lookup is what you would look up. Click on that. Where you're going. So if you're going to be in Louisiana, and if you know the zip, what year are you going to? So it's the current year, or when you're traveling, and then you do a search. So this would give me some idea of what my cost is. The first day that you travel and the last day that you travel is a percentage of the per diem. So again, I'll go into that, or Nepal Zine will go into that at another time. Let me get back up to our form. So on this same form, you can put in your travel, and then you can put in that you purchased. It doesn't have to be during that travel time. You were out and you had to purchase paper from Staples and for Resource Fair. And then you would write the cost that it cost you here that you're asking to be reimbursed. And then you would have the receipt, and you would need to combine this with the receipt. I'm creating a video for that, so I'm not going to go into how to do it right now. There is a video already on there if you need it right away. But receipts need to be included in all of these. Original receipts must be attached to this PDF. Can use the combine feature. Original receipts, you can take a screenshot of your receipt. You know, we're accepting all of that. What I say is, you know, if you buy something at CVS, that's a long receipt. But you can opt for email me the receipt. So if you're traveling or you're going somewhere and you have the option for them to email you the receipt, then that could be a great option. Even if you bought other things on there, just black them out and send it to us, you know, and attach it to this form. Any questions on this? Did I address things, Patricia?
I have a question.
Mhm.
This is Leslie. When we used to account for travel on forms, there was a difference if we were scheduled to be in the office versus traveling from home. So what is the practice right now? Is everything as if we were from home?
No. Well, if your home, if home is your home office, if you were hired and home was your home office.
No, I'm saying if I'm
Oh, if you're traveling.
I'm a Boston office employee.
Right. So in other places, and if Nepalzine's on here, he can speak to this. It's the shortest distance. So if it's shorter to calculate from the office to where your destination is, that's the times you would use. If it's shorter to calculate from your home to where you're going, that's the mileage you would use. But I'm not honestly sure what the.
So I'd like that in writing, whatever the policy is.
And so I'm not saying that that's the policy here.
No,
I'm
I
just
know. I'm
simply-
just saying it's unclear to me
Okay.
what that policy is. So that was what we used to, I used to come afoul of this all the time because I would leave from my home and it was like, no, but you were in the office and it's shorter, and I don't understand that. So I would like that policy, if that's still in place, to
Yep.
be written and outlined
All right.
to support this document so that
Awesome.
we calculate our travel correctly. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You do need to put your starting point, purpose of the trip, your end point, and your start point on here so that we know that. But I've put that on here. I've spelled mileage wrong, but I'm not fixing it. Any other questions on this doc? And if anyone can see the chat, I've lost it. Hold on.
So,
Yes, I will
so the
send the
other,
link.
the other thing I'm just clarifying is that we do not have to include a map anymore.
You do not. You just have to, and that's
Okay.
what it says up here.
Great. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
It says Google Map, Waze, trip odometer.
So Bridget,
Yes.
thanks a lot first. So when we are done with this Nitro, do we save as our like own document and then we share with you? How do we
So
do that?
So you would complete this document and then you would go up here and you would do save as.
Okay.
And what I've suggested, I don't know if you were on here before, is I created a folder that's called my business office recs.
Oh, okay.
And then I just did the date. And then you could say Patricia, November, you know, whatever, you know, reimbursement, whatever it's going to help you remember what it is. And you would save it so that you have a document saved. And then you would still come back to this document because now it's saved as Patricia November Reimbu. And you would go to share. And I'm going to make a video for this, Patricia. So I see that you're writing things down, which I love about you. But I'm also going to do a video. So you would go up here to share. And you would do email attachment.
Oh, share. I always forget this step. Sorry.
And then you would put
okay.
that in. Is this you?
Oh,
Yeah,
Yes.
that's her.
Okay, well, this- you're getting it. Send anyway.
mm,
And then you would send that to your director and only your director. And then the director would complete the parts they needed to complete. And then they would send it to the business office, or if it's a Staples order, to Wanda.
What if we have 4 bosses?
You pick one. I don't know. Honestly, it depends on, because some people do have different bosses. It depends on what account you're going to be pulling it from or what class. If you're purchasing
Yeah.
something or traveling for RTSC, then Andrea would need to. If you're doing something for Rebecca, then Rebecca would need to. So you wouldn't necessarily be able to put on one form several projects. Well, you could, but you'd just have to get several signatures.
Okay,
'Cause
so we
this
have
line could be
different
from-
accounts for different projects.
Yes, but
Mhm.
this could, if it's the same person who signs it, this one could go to, hold on, I have to get up here. Thank you for bringing this question up. So this line item could be for MRC, and this happens a lot with Rebecca's group. And then this item could be a next gen purchase. And so she would put that in.
Mm,
And then when I put it into the system in Bill, I delineate those things, but I need to have the information to do that from. So this could be mileage, this could be, it could be supplies, or it could be you needed it for staff training or something, you know? So this has to have a conversation with your director for where they want it to come out of their budget and what line item they use.
Okay,
But the share.
and if
is
it is,
important.
do you have the information? I don't know if you're the right person to ask, but you're definitely more experienced than to fill in this form. Do you know if it is like a whole day event, and if it is like far, if the meals or lunch, do we have, are we allowed to report, to buy those through the federation, or it's not something that is
So
supposed to be there?
I'm gonna go to the, here we have meals and incidental expenses. And there's an explanation of them here. I don't know how awesome it is. It may address what you're asking. So I haven't read through it because it's not something that I do or have read in a while. So I would lead you towards the meals and incidental expense on the staff.
Okay,
I,
great.
I think the next lunch and learn may deal with travel when you're in state versus out of state and how to calculate all that.
All right.
But
so-
if you have something that comes up before then, you can reach out to me and I'll help you out.
Wonderful.
All right. So there we are with forms. I will be sending the link to the recording. It will also be on the staff portal.
I do have a quick note, since a lot of these forms are requiring us paying out money. Going back to something Bridget mentioned about supporting minority and women-owned businesses. We do have a couple of vendors, but the list is small and we definitely want to grow it. And we're asking for help for staff. And there's one thing that I will put in the chat right now.
And the reason is there's a certain percentage from some of our grants that we have to access that type of a vendor.
Sure. I mean, it's the right thing to do. We have
1000%.
obligations for it.
Yep.
And it will also help the vendors too. So as an example, Amir, who does a lot of our communications, wasn't aware of the program that I linked with this supplier diversity office. We're helping him go through the process right now. If he gets the certification, it helps us, but it also helps him. He can go to other clients and say, I'm a minority owned business, I'm certified by the state, and that can help get your foot in the door. So it's kind of a win-win for all parties involved. And for example, we mentioned Staples. I don't have any particular attachment to Staples. If there's a minority or woman-owned office supply business that gives us comparable service at comparable rates, I would be willing to switch, give them a test out. we have a lot of vendors, interpreters, translators, other consultants. They may not be aware of the certification. So if you get the word out to them, they get certified, they let us know, we might, if it's appropriate in the right circumstances, we might be able to even give them more business.
Right.
And it's also a selling point for them and other clients they work with.
I'm going to
So
share
we're-
my screen real quick, Napalzine. If that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
you
In
still-
the certification process, I don't think there's a dollar cost to it, but I think you have to attend like a seminar and you have to fill out some paperwork. But I would recommend to any vendor we work with, if they think they qualify, to go through the process.
So this is the link that we have to go through. And this is why asking for your help is so important, because the list is ginormous. So find newly certified businesses. There's a search to find. Where is the search?
Scroll down.
This isn't the link with the search. This is for applying for it. But there's a
Yeah.
searchable one that is huge. And
Yeah, there's another link, but this is what I would recommend we send to a vendor,
Mhm.
because they
Right.
they can take the self-assessment, and then if they qualify, then they
Absolutely.
can go through the process.
Just trying to find stop share. Yes, because I know I have the other one saved on my. So having said that, and we're at 12:57, this was a lot. And usually we only record the beginning. This one, we recorded the whole thing. Every form has different questions. So it is what it is. And this will be what goes out. If there's something that you want to have a video on, just let me know. It literally takes me the amount of time it does to talk about it to make the video. So please let me know. Renee, if you've set the list of interpreters for invoicing with the business office, contact them about STO program. Or would that be something Ruth does? I don't know the answer to that, Napalzine. Is that something because Ruth has a relationship with them? That might be a gentler.
I think I
Sure.
sent that to you
Push.
directly.
What was that?
I think I sent that to you directly, so he may not be
Oh, I'm
know what you're
sorry.
referring to.
I'm sorry. She was asking
How-
because we have a long list of interpreters and he wanted it to be private.
However, we want to get
Oh,
the
no,
word
that-
out.
Yeah.
But I
it-
think if she has a
email
relationship
blast.
with them, that might be a
Easier.
softer,
So,
ask.
okay, okay,
to me, that would be a softer ask
Yeah,
because
because
it's,
we have, we use the
people can
same.
say no and they would maybe feel more apt to say no if it was to, or yes, or whatever.
Right,
You don't know who's coming into this wanting to be labeled as whatever the certification is.
okay.
That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, Bridget, this is Rebecca. If we have
Hey,
30
Rebecca.
seconds, but hey, thank you for this. A quick question. I'm looking at a new translator to translate materials for NextGen into Khmer.
Mhm.
And they've got everything. They sent me the quote, so we're good to move forward. And then they have like a prepayment agreement that they ask people to sign with a credit card information. So
That would be a
Maybe
Nepalese conversation.
okay, so I just got that and I have to go to a meeting at 1 o'clock, but I was going to forward that information to you. I can put my name on it and the information, the coding,
Send
whatever.
it to business office and to Nepalese in case it's something that is for him to have to approve.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely take a look. I know in general, I'm a little hesitant to prepay for services. But
Certainly.
it depends. I'd have to look at the specifics.
okay. And they said they won't get charged until they start. Yeah, I don't know. I've not seen that before,
Yeah,
so I thought
as
I'd
long as it's
ask
written
since
on
we
there.
were talking. Okay, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Anyone else? Again, send me anything that you need to have a video on. Even if I set out and make a video and you remember that I said it, could you send me an email or a Teams? Teams is the best way. Teams works really well. I do respond to email, but Teams works great. because then I can just get on a video instead of you describing the form to me and me trying to describe to you what the form is. If we get on a Teams, we can share a screen and I can see exactly what we're trying to do. All right, it's 1 o'clock. We're going to end on time.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.